Hi there everyone. In this meeting, we are going to learn all of the important things you need to know about Microsoft Teams that you will need for distance learning. So here I am once again at my Office 365 homepage. I'm going to show you two ways to get on Teams. The first way is to access it online just like you do all of the other Microsoft apps. It is this icon right here, and I can access it in my web browser just like I do with all of the other programs. I have a little notification in the bottom right hand corner asking me to turn on desktop notifications. We highly recommend that you turn on desktop notifications during distance learning so that you're not missing out on important communications from teachers. A lot of communication will be happening in Teams. I have another notification that appeared up at the top that says that Microsoft Teams wants to show notifications, and I'm going to allow that too. This is a personal preference, so if you don't want all these notifications, you don't need to say yes, but just know that it is helpful just so that you're getting your notifications and updates from your teachers. So here I am in the online version of Teams. Again, I can tell that because I still have my web browser open up here and I have Chrome open down below. If you don't have Teams downloaded, go take a peek at our other video about how to download Microsoft Teams, the desktop app. You can also do that really easily in this program from the online version, just this bottom left-hand corner that says download desktop app. If for some reason you don't see this, try just doing a quick Google search for download Microsoft Teams, and you can get there as well. Sometimes computers just don't have this icon here, but most should. So now that I have Teams open, I'm actually going to switch over to the desktop app because that is the version of Teams that we're recommending that you use. The functionality is quite similar between both. I have Teams pinned to my taskbar. All middle school students should also have Teams pinned to their taskbar. What's really nice about this is once I open the app up, if I get notifications, I will have this little green circle will turn to a red number just so that I know that I have missed something. So again, another way to make sure that I'm not missing important information. You'll see that the Teams app looks very similar to the online program. Now, once I'm here, there's a few important things to note. My primary navigation panel is along the left-hand side here. The top bell icon that says activity is where I'm going to get notifications on any sort of update that has happened throughout all of my different teams since I've been away, sort of like a Facebook news feed. Next, I see the chat icon. Teacher to student and student to student chat is disabled one-on-one away from any sort of like meeting or team group to prevent one-on-one messaging. So you won't really be using this often, if at all. Next, you'll see your Teams space. This is where you can jump from team to team. Think of each team like a class. In our primary grades, all third graders, all second graders, all fifth graders, etc., we'll see just one fifth grade team. The only difference here is that in third, fourth, and fifth grade, students will also have a math team. That way, Mrs. Jorson is able to communicate independently with her students. Otherwise, all specialists, teachers, etc. for primary grades should be using just one grade level team. That way, the students can look in one space for all of their information. In middle school, however, students are in a team for each class. So my screen is showing a lot more of a middle school type view where it will show you the name of the course with the teacher or the period with the teacher, something like that. So let me go ahead and click into one of my teams. I'm just going to go into a test classroom that I have here. You're going to see a lot of practice meetings and whatnot. This is sort of what the general layout inside a team looks like. You'll see channels in this white panel here, which for primary and middle school will just be important for navigation. Right now there's just a general channel, but when you go back and look at this later, you might see a channel for reading, math, science, etc. If you're in primary grades, not math. Math will be independent of that if you're in third, fourth, fifth, but for most subjects it'll be there. In middle school, your channels might be organized instead by date. So just make sure you're paying attention to the organization system of these channels. In your team, you also have your primary conversation space. This is where the action of the team happens. So you are able to start conversations. This will go to everyone in the team. You are able to reply to conversations that others have started. And you can even tag specific people in the team if you want to make sure that they don't miss out on your comment. So I know that Mrs. Schagel is a member of this team. I'm going to tag her so that she sees that I have a question for her. You can do that using the @ sign for specific people or for the entire team if you have a message to send to everyone. Students, you are highly recommended to not start new conversations unless you are asking a completely unrelated topic from something that's already happened. It helps to keep your team's workspace much neater if you reply to a conversation that has already been started that's relevant to your topic. That way everything is grouped in this white box like you can see here, and you can even collapse all of the responses and replies just to keep your workspace organized. In this space, you can also attach files if you need to, and you can access other tools as we go on. Right now, we want your number one focus to just be basic navigation around Teams. Let's go back to our navigation toolbar now. Underneath my Teams, I see assignments. This is a space where teachers will all be able to post different assignments that they would like to give to you that you have due, and you'll be able to see all of your assignments for all of your classes, just like you might in a planner. So I see an assignment that I created as a test for one of my classes here. I see another sample assignment here for math, and I see another sample assignment here for a separate class. Once you have submitted your assignments, they will appear below. And again, I'm in a teacher view. The student view is going to look a little bit different. Instead of saying assigned and graded, I believe it'll say assigned and submitted. So this is your spot where you can look at all of your assignments, and then you can even come in here and complete assignments by clicking on the assignment and doing all of the work there. Again, I'm in a teacher view, not a student view. The student view, though, you kind of just click through. It's pretty clear what you should click next to do the work. Next, on my navigation panel, I have my calendar. Now, this is going to be an extremely helpful space for you because you will be able to see all of the different meetings and classes that you have for every class. Now, I can see all of these different sample meetings. Teachers have been doing a lot of good practice, and I can't join any of them, as you can tell, except for the one that is currently live. So I'm going to actually join this meeting because this is that final piece that we're adding in with our team's usage of being able to attend a live meeting. Now, when I join it, I'm prompted with this screen every time. I am able to choose my audio and video settings, and this is before I officially join the meeting. So you can turn your video on and off, you can blur your background, and you can mute your microphone. We are asking all students when joining meetings to mute their microphone at the start. They can unmute with teacher permission. You can also check your mic and speaker settings here if you feel like you might need to do so, and then you are going to join the meeting. Now, I am the only one in the meeting right now, so you are not going to get a super exciting experience, but as others join, you might see other videos appear, and you'll be able to see all of the different people who join the meeting. Once you're in a meeting, a few important things to note. You can continue to turn your camera on and off by clicking this button here. You can mute and unmute using this button here. This button is how you can share your screen. This is primarily something that teachers will be doing. We ask that students do not share screens unless prompted by a teacher to do so. In the More Actions category, there is really not much that students will need to know. The only thing you might be interested in here is that you can blur your background here as well. The chat function is or the conversation is where you can add questions and answers during the meeting. So since your mic is muted, the chat is a really great place to ask a question. So you might ask your teacher for permission to unmute. You might also simply ask your question right in that space. So the chat is a really great tool where you can ask text-based questions during a live audio-video meeting. Lastly, you have the option to show participants. Now, this is a really useful tool if your teacher is presenting and you want to just see your teacher's video. You don't want to see any of your classmates' videos because it might be distracting. So you can come in here, find the person whose name you want to pin or whose video you want to see, click the three dots next to their name, and I don't have the option here because no one else is in the meeting, but it'll give you the option to pin. And once pinned, the screen that you want to see as your primary screen will fill the entire page. This is really helpful if you are trying to focus on what a teacher is doing, primarily over any of the other participants in the meeting. So that is sort of the main things you need to know during a Teams live meeting. Lastly, another important thing is that you hang up at the end. Otherwise, you'll just be in the meeting forever, and that is just confusing to everyone. So make sure before you leave, you hang up. And then once you do, you'll be taken back to that main team screen for whichever class just had a meeting, and you'll be able to see all of the questions that were asked during the meeting. You will also, if the teacher has recorded the meeting, you'll be able to see a link to watch the recorded video, which is really cool in case you, for some reason, weren't able to attend the meeting. You can go back and kind of catch up on what you missed out on. So there are so many cool things you can do in Teams. This is kind of just the tip of the iceberg. Play around with these things, and as we all get more comfortable using Teams, hopefully we can add on even some more exciting stuff as we go. Don't forget, though, to navigate between your Teams, your assignments, and your calendar. All right, you guys, happy teaming.